Batman, the Long Halloween, the Last Halloween, issue 0. Now, what's funny though is that this wasn't originally called the Last Halloween. It was just the Long Halloween special. Because I did not realize this until it was pointed out to me that this is a reprint of a book that came out in 2021. And what's funny is I went back and listened to my review of that because you didn't read it. For whatever reason, you didn't read it that time. I did though. And I talked about it. And I remember saying, hey, the end of this book clearly is them setting up for another series, another Long Halloween sequel. Sadly, though, Tim Sale was on that book, and I feel like the reason why it didn't happen for 3 years is because Tim Sale passed away. That seems to be what delayed it. And what they're doing now is they've got a different artist on every issue of this new 12-issue series, and it's going to be like, what, you know, obviously I think Jeff Loeb probably had the story plotted out, if not some of the scripts written back then. And then, you know, we come to here and like, it's like, oh, we'll still do the story. We'll still finish off that tale, but we'll have it with these different artists paying respects to Tim Sale. And that's how we're doing it. But
so I was going to say, there was an interview in the back where they talked with Jeff Loeb, and a lot of that he confirmed.
Oh, okay, cool.
Was that he also waited because he wanted it to be something that would, as he said, Tim Sale could sit on Pa Kent's porch and sit and enjoy and read. You know, so he wanted it to be something that Tim would be proud of as well. And so he had to, you know, get around his own issues with finishing a project without his co-creator, and think of ways to do this. So it was actually a really heartfelt, you know, interview.
That's nice.
So
because when I read this a couple of years ago, when it first came out, I remember thinking it wasn't immediately as good necessarily as Long Halloween and Dark Victory, but it was nice to be in that world again. It was nice to have, you know, this, like, it feels like they're teasing that Babs might become Batgirl in this, like, next one, in the same way that Robin, or Dick Grayson became Robin in Dark Victory. The third one will have Babs becoming Batgirl. She even dresses as Batgirl for Halloween before that's officially a thing.
I was going to say, is that, you're the bigger Batgirl guy. Is that usually a thing of her?
I don't think so. That seems like a thing just that they've done for that. It's cute though. I kind of like it.
No, I don't mind it because it fits in with the animated series version of things, right? Where she you know, wanted to help out, but she couldn't, so she sneaks around as Barbara Gordon. That's how she earns her place. But so her showing up here in a Batgirl costume, I thought was a little bit weird, but you know, it does fit the tone. Because she wanted to go trick-or-treating with Robin. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is mostly just a one-shot. There is maybe a couple of little things. It's like, hey, the Dents have got a secret, and that just kind of, you know... I feel like introducing Babs, who's, in this story, Gordon's niece rather than daughter, although I think that ties into what they set up in one of the specials before Long Halloween, where Gordon adopted her. You know, it was his niece that he adopted because her parents died or whatever. Yeah,
and that's how they also get around by his wife's name Barbara, but also his daughter's name Barbara. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that's fair enough. But by and large, I don't think you need to read this to jump into issue 1 that's coming out next week. I think it's a solid one shot though, and if you like that world and you like the Harvey Dent and Gilda Dent stuff, and you like this version of Batman, I think it is worth reading. But honestly, it's up to you, Matt, how much you want to talk about this, because you read this for the first time, and
there's I love a good Two-Face story, and it does feel like, you know, this is a continuation of Long Halloween. I still need to read Dark Victory, so I might.
Oh, you need to read that. You have to read that.
Which I believe is why I did not read the when this came out in 2021.
Yeah, because Last Halloween is basically the third in a trilogy, right?
Yes.
It's Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Last Halloween. You have to read Dark Victory.
So I think, because I'm working overtime tomorrow, I think I'll set aside time and read Dark Victory, because I do have it.
Yeah, you'll fly through it, because those Loeb Sale books are easy reads. And
quick.
Funnily enough, actually, the Penguin TV show started this week, and Sophia Capone is not Capone, Falcone, Capone, like Al Capone.
Good lord.
Yeah, well, it's because see in the Batman and the TV show, they pronounce Falcone.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Which is how I'd always done it until the Nolan stuff, where they called him Falcone.
No, I'd always said Falcone. So I said Capone there because I was trying to remember how they said it, but then I mixed it up with the one that I would actually say. That doesn't matter. Anyway, point is, is that Kristen Milioti plays her in that, and she's a big character in Long Halloween and Dark Victory, especially Dark Victory. So if you
so I did start Dark Victory knowing this was coming, and I've been other things have taken precedence. So I did see the opening. I read, I think, what's essentially the first issue of Dark Victory. And she's, at the funeral, or not the funeral, but at the gravesite and all this other stuff. She's a pretty big deal. So
I mean, I know it was maybe a bit of an ass to do it before next week, but I would highly recommend reading Dark Victory before next week.
I will say, like, again, as a Two-Face guy, I love Two-Face, having them bring that back around, because what makes a Long Halloween work is that dynamic between Batman, Gordon, and Dent. And it's that trinity of characters. And so to see him here, and all of them have been, altered by the events of Long Halloween, and assuming Dark Victory as well, because I don't really know what the crux of that book is. Because is Two-Face big in Dark Victory?
Oh, he's in there, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
But is he a main character, or is it just
he's definitely a prominent character. I mean, once again, it's a murder mystery. It's someone's killing people, but the murders are all related to people who Dent knew. So he's very much like So then here, this doing those, and we're getting a lot of good Two-Face stuff here. Like there's some art where there's a mirror, and you only see towards, let's say, the camera, the page, right? It's all Two-Face. It's that side of his face that's messed up. But behind him always is the mirror, and you see the Harvey Dent face. So it's always sitting there, almost like Harvey's his conscience, as he's going through things. So a lot of, it just showed how Sale and Loeb really worked together effectively. A lot of Grundy. Which also not I don't hate. I love Grundy, and him being friends with Two-Face here, I think, was made for some fun scenes. But this with Holiday Man's, or not Holiday Man, Calendar Man's cult going around, that's some grade A creepy stuff that I hope we touch on more in the last Halloween. I was really big with all of that. I don't know. I feel like the Calendar Man stuff was kind of wrapped up by the end, but I do like the premise of this issue, though, is that Calendar Man is pissed that the holiday killer from Long Halloween kind of stole his gimmick, so he's going around and trying to get vengeance for it.
And him having the 12 followers, each representing a month, and he needs a true Gemini, so he wants Dent because Dent represents May and all, and I just love all that stuff. So if we get something akin to that throughout the last Halloween, because I thought those real creepy vibes, those hit real well.
And
so
both Long Halloween and Dark Victory are murder mysteries. Like they both have a serial killer of some kind killing people off. I expect Last Halloween will have one too, because that's kind of what each of the books have been. So I expect someone will be killing people. So when I said we're kind of talking about this issue, what I meant by that is that I felt it was worth bringing up because it has been 3 years since this book came out. So even if we don't do a full conversation of it, you can go back and find me talking about it like from 2021. But it felt worth bringing up and just sort of like saying, hey, the important things to note at the end of this is that Harvey and Gilda are together, and he's not in prison anymore. At the end of this issue, they have left. They're on a boat in like the sewers or something, and they're free. So, just for going into this final book that starts next week, is Two-Face is free with his wife. Barbara Gordon has been established as being around and being a fan of Robin and Batman, and those are the things that seem like they're probably going to come up in this next series.
And there's a theme of legacy here too, right? So I'm wondering how much that's going to play in, especially if the shadow of Tim Sale's, into this. Like, I wonder how much this is going to be about, going on after people are no longer around and that type of stuff too. Because I can't imagine Loeb didn't adjust things.
I'm sure he did a bit. Like, it's not like he wouldn't have touched it in 3 years, but but I do like, though, that most of what the story was probably already like planned even before, when they originally did this issue, it was probably plotted out because he's setting up some characters and things that are going to be in it. So I suspect that, yeah, we're going to go. I did notice though when I looked at the last page of this. I remember when I read it the first time, it said the end, or is it, or something like that. You know, it was kind of like a question, as if it was teasing there might be more. Whereas this version of it just says to be continued because yeah, it's coming next week. That's
to be continued? Question mark. Right. This is just a period.
Yeah. There's no question. It just is, right. It's coming. Which is cool, and it's funny that it's been so long since this first came out that I'd forgotten it was even a thing, and it wasn't until someone reminded me, hey, this is a reprint, and you already talked about it, and I'm like, wait, did I? And sure enough, I looked, and I was like, oh, I did talk about it. What did I say? So, yeah. But I think it's a solid one shot. I mean, I assume you liked it because you don't seem to be.
Yeah. No, definitely. And again, it was mainly just because I hadn't read Dark Victory. And now that this was coming out, I was like, well, I don't have that much time. I'll just read it, and, you know, I'm sure I'll fill in the gaps. But yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you'll have trouble understanding this coming book if you haven't read Dark Victory, but I would highly recommend you, because it is, you know, it's the last in a trilogy. I'd recommend it. It
is in my backpack right now. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Well, there's your homework, Matt, for next week. All right, okay. Well, that wasn't really a review per se, so I won't get us to rate it, but yeah. Cool.